We gather in the cosmos bright. Stars and ships take flight tonight. In the void where dreams do play. Soul citizens lead the way. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads in endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses crossed. Squadrons call on the horizon. Battles fought, our hearts aren't frightened. In our ships we face the dawn. Soul citizens carry on. Oh, planets spin and light years fly. Boundless space where hopes reside. Motherhood in every star. Soul citizens, here we are. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads in endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses crossed.
Hello, hello, greetings, and welcome back to the Soul Citizens. I am GriffinGamingRPG, and today is Sunday, October the 5th. We've crossed into a new month, the final quarter of 2025, and I am joined with my co-producers today, part of our team here at the Soul Citizens. I've got fastcart FC with me, and SeriousFun. Gentlemen, how art thou?
Greetings and salutations. We're coming across into October. I'm coming across into a broken microphone, but you can still hear me, so I'm happy to be here.
Fair enough. FC, how are you?
You said how art thou? I'm like, wait, did I go back into the 18th century? What happened here? I time traveled?
Yeah, a little bit of my D&D was coming out there. Yeah, it took us back a little bit.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you, Griffin?
Good. I'm doing okay. Busy day to day, but I am here along with you guys, and that makes everything all right. And we hope that you all are doing well as well. Today, we are covering a topic called game space, and we're going to kind of explain what that is. Instead of space game, it's game space. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But as you guys know, when we start out our show this week, we always start out with Star Citizen this week and talking about anything that's exciting, anything interesting that has taken place over the past week since we've been here. And we give some shout outs to some people who are out there. We've got Pops in Space. Attack Cat is here. Good to see you as always. The Prisoner is here. New Soul Sounds. Rasta-san, my good friend here from Illinois, is out there. Jade Starwatch is here. 07 from way, way away. Good to see you, Jade. Shattucky is here. Thank all of you for being here with us and helping us kick things off. Captain Jones is out there. CC is here. And Vavrick is here as well. So thank you all for being here with us and helping us get things started for this week. Let's talk a little bit, gentlemen. Each week, it seems like there's almost every week there's something new that's happening as we're approaching CitizenCon Direct. And one of the things from this week that kicked off was the Day of Vara. We came right out of Pirate Week. I think we were only off by 1 week, and there was a new thingy here, Day of Vara. Serious, would you kind of explain for people who don't know what the Day of Vara is? It's right there on the sheet. If you wouldn't mind kind of giving that little breakdown there of what's on the page on the RSI website for us.
as Captain Heptane steered the Vara and its crew through the isolated Hades system, an expanse devoid of life. She had no idea what darkness was waiting to claim them, and we still don't know today. So on this day of the Vara, we pay homage to the lost and hope to guide them home by lighting candles, sharing stories, and wearing the costumes of the fallen. Ignore these traditions at your peril, lest the dead take you with them on their return to the ever after.
You know, FC, I kind of felt like there should have been like some sound of the wind blowing in the background while he was reading that or something. You know, I don't know.
Or the Vincent Price laugh or something.
Yeah, just something in the background should have been going on.
That was a 45-year-old reference back there.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, but thank you for reading that in such a dramatic way for us. Day of the Vara is basically, as many of you all know, CIG, Cloud Imperium, often recognizes traditional holidays that we humans use on Earth and have kind of incorporated them into the lore. And so what for many of us would call the season for Halloween, the Day of the Vara has become that for part of our community. And so, you know, it's kind of interesting what they had this year. I don't know, I kind of have mixed feelings about the Day of Vara. I was a little disappointed because the items that they provided for people to do in competition now are kind of like the same. I don't want to say the same old stuff, but I guess that's what it is. It's the same old stuff.
That's what it is.
Yeah, you know, and maybe I, you know, CIG. Come on, I would love for you guys each year have somebody create some type of new something, right? One, it allows us to feel like we were there when it happened, right? It's something that, you know, it's kind of cool that you're there. People say, where'd you get that from? Oh, this came out in 2017 or this came back in 2023. That's a very cool bragging point for us as players. But secondly, it also allows for us to start having a collection of things. I don't need any more bear heads. I don't need any more bear heads. Don't make any more different colors. Don't make any more different colors of bear heads. I don't need any more bear heads. But I did like the fact that for a period of time, we were getting some of the different items, right? We had the space one with the eyeball, you know, that was hanging out, and one of the, like, you know, and then we had the Van Duel fake one, and then we had I forget what that one is called that looks like the murderer thing with the sewn eyes and everything. We had like two versions of that. One was like a brown version and one was like a gray black version. And then we had the other radioactive one. But it's like, just have somebody make a creepy mask each year. It would be just so cool, you know. Maybe do a creepy. A year, it ain't a lot of work. with the wonder, you know what? With the wonders of AI, it could be done very easily. All you got to do is take a Xion face and monkey it up. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, come up with some different masks. That's all I'm saying. And I think it would be a hot seller. I'm not interested in any of the contest stuff this year because I have all that stuff already. So there's no interest for me to even do it, you know? So that's why I would love for CIG to kind of stretch it a little bit. Yeah, Hill Horror. Thank you, Captain Jones. The Hill Horror one. That's the one we're talking about.
And it's not as if you're slating someone to do something that isn't going to bring revenue back to CIG, right? Mm-hmm. This isn't just a gimme. It's a relatively straightforward annual way to amplify the opportunities, because what it does is, to your point, it keeps all of the older gamers who have done these heads before in the game, right? In the interest, right? And for those that are new, then they can work to collect a lot of different things. But you know, I don't think about these bear heads. I can't look at another bear head. I'll tell you that right now.
And the bear heads are creepy. I mean, there are, you know, the glowing eyes and stuff. They're creepy, you know. But it's just the fact that, you know, we've got like a pineapple, a grape, a strawberry version of them. That's great, you know. But I would love to see them expand a little bit more with this, because I think it would just be helpful.
I'm going to push back just a little tiny, instant weeny bit, because they do have new paints. That's all.
We aren't talking about the paints. We ain't talking about the paints yet. That's another category.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the contest and the like when they have people go out and do all this killing or whatever, or go into Arena Commander and you get ahead. That's the part I'm talking about right now. Paints are coming up next. So again, the mask thing, because masks are part of the Halloween tradition. I just would love to see them expand on the masks. Now you can talk about the paints if you'd like to. Feel free to jump in about the paints, Fastcart. What we got?
They have new paint. They have three whole new paints. One for the Saber, one for the Guardian. I guess both the Guardian and MX, and the Polaris. I do like them. I do like the black paint though, but I don't have any of those ships, so I'm not getting any of them. I do like them.
So let me push back. We've got one new paint for 3 different ships. Give me an example of what that is, because it's not 3 different paints. It's the same paint design, but for only 3 ships. And that's been interesting. Let me ask you guys a question, because there is another set of those paints, the ones that are the purple and green, right? And those have been around for a few years now.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about CIG when they produce these paints and they're only limited to certain ships? How do you feel about that?
You know, I have a Guardian and I have a Polaris, so I'm kind of straight.
Right.
But if I didn't have those, I would have some questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the Guardian is a relatively new ship that has several paints. Right? So I do think that it's an opportunity for them to just think a little bit broader and a little bit differently around ships. If they're going to do a limited number of ships, if they can only dedicate so much time, which ships have fewer paints? Which ships don't have any other optionality in order for people to consider them?
Yeah.
You know, where's a gladiator paint? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No one flies a gladiator. That's why they don't make that one.
Well, yeah.
That's one of those ships no one flies.
Yeah, but I think to your point.
But it's a catch-22. That's part of the reason nobody flies it, is that you can't make it look any different.
Exactly. DK Wildcat, thank you so much for the 3 years. You hit the 3-year mark, 36 months of support. Thank you so much. But that's at tier 1. But you've been subscribing for 41 months, so we appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I agree. I think that. I think everybody always, it's at certain points, a lot of the community says, hey, give these ships, it may not even be a ship you own, but it's like, give some love to that ship, right? Throw one over at the 85X. You know, I got to say that, Charles Origin. You know, there's some ships that actually have no paints, right? And believe me, if that was an 85X paint, I would have bought it just like that. No question about it. I did get the one for the Saber, but I only had, to your point, Sirius, I only had one of the 3 ships. You know, I don't know how much work. I'm sure it's a decent amount of work for them to provide ship skins for many of those ships. I know that would be a lot of work. But it's, you know, I think that your answer, Sirius, is kind of rotated around a little bit. You know, sometimes there's some ships out there like the Cutter that's got like a zillion paints, right? And it's like, please don't make another Cutter paint, y'all. There's tons of, and you know, it's not that I hate the Cutter, but I'm just saying it's got a lot.
And you know, Citizen Con just around the corner, so they come out with just what? Another Cutter paint.
Yeah. Well, I hope not. But yeah, okay. So there was that. What else was going on with VAR? There was the contest, right? There was a storytelling contest. In fact, Sirius, you said you submitted something for the storytelling. I said I wanted to do one. Am I correct? Did you say you submitted something?
I did. I submitted essentially a story. It wasn't it's a story contest, but my submission is really about official logs. A bunch of official logs and how scary looking back on a black box recording of official logs can be. So be sure to check that out, but to check out everybody's submissions over there at the community hub.
Yeah.
On this side. So.
Absolutely. Thrakazogs, thank you so much for that prime sub. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Thrakazogs. Now, I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad, but Halloween, it just isn't one of my holidays. Some people love Halloween. Some people go all out of Halloween. I'm not one of those people. So I'm like, Day of the Horror. Okay, fine. Cool.
But you're not a horror. But you're not a horror person either.
Some people love this stuff.
But you've said that you're not a horror person either, correct?
I'm not a horror person either. That's true also.
There's your connection right there. If you're not a horror person, you're not going to like the Day of the Vara. But that's just like there are people who aren't into alien ships. And when Alien Week comes around, they don't care about that.
That's
I mean,
true.
it's everybody's got their thing, right? You know, and that's fine.
That's the strength of what. Yeah, that's the strength of how RSI has done this. Is that there's lots of different things throughout the year for you to check out and be into or not into, as the case may be. Right? Everybody ain't gonna be into everything, and that's okay. You know, that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And wasn't there something else? I thought there was one other element for Day of the Vara. Do you guys remember what it was? It was the contest. Was it the pumpkin, or is it that people already did it, or that they still have to do it? That's what I don't remember. I got to look at the page. I was trying to figure out, was it something that they already did, or they have to still do it?
I think pumpkin. Hold on, let me click on it. I got the link right here.
Sharpen your knives and leave your work. Okay, so they still have to do it. So it's time to start doing it. Okay. All right. Yeah, they got to start doing it because the examples there are from the past year. That's what I was trying to find out. Oh, they did come up with the new
November.
Right. And they did come up with the new arena commander thing called Kill Collector. Do you guys remember that? Where the skeletons?
That's from last year too. That's from last year.
Yeah, I know, but I was asking what else was it this year that was in? And Kill Collector was another thing for Day of the Vara. So that was also another thing for this year. So there are plenty of things that we're telling you guys there's plenty of things to do in relation to the Day of the Vara. So take advantage of all these different things. If you're into the writing, the pumpkin carving, if you want to go into the arena commander and breathe some life into it, take advantage of all that stuff. And then, of course, there's the writing contest, the Dead Men Tell Short Tales contest. FC.
One thing.
Yeah.
One thing I am disappointed with, they feature 15 vehicles or ships, but none of them have CCU discount this year. So that's a little disappointing. I know Citizen Con is right around the corner, so we'll get them then. But you know, typically for every event they have like CCU discount, but they didn't do that for Day of the Vara.
So let's talk about it. Is there a reason, maybe? And let me ask you a question. If they had, would you have spent money?
It depends on the ship.
So you actually you're still at the point, right? You're still at the point where you would still buy CCUs right now.
Depends on the ship.
What ship would you buy a CCU for right now?
Oh man, you're gonna make me look. Maybe something like
No, I thought you were at the place where you had everything you wanted. That's why I'm asking you that question.
No, there's something I haven't planned, but I haven't revealed yet. But yeah, so I'm still on the hunt for some CCU, but there's nothing on here with this.
No, I'm not asking about this event. I'm asking in general. I thought you had everything you wanted. What is the thing that you're looking for?
No, it's not anything in particular. It's just a good deal. That's all.
So in other words, you're a chronic spender. It has nothing to do with your fleet or planning. You just want to spend some money.
I'm looking for the Starland to build it. I don't know how much.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Okay, you're looking for something toward the build. That's what I was asking. Okay, so there is still something that you're looking for your fleet. Okay, cool. Right. All right, I got you. All righty then.
I think one of the things I would emphasize about Day of the Vara and these events is, you know, sometimes people go, well, I'm waiting for more lore. I'm waiting for more stuff from CIG. Mm-hmm. This is a space where they have kicked it back to us, and these are community generated activities. So if you have not gone over to the community hub and ran any of these stories or gotten involved in these things, I would highly consider this. This really does make more thick and more fully dimensionalize your connection with the community. Right? There are people out here doing very, very cool things. And that community hub was a long time coming in its current form, and it's here. And I do highly recommend folks check it out. There's a lot of stuff happening over there.
Yep, a lot of cool stuff, absolutely. And by the way, Fastcart, I don't know if you saw what Danger Hobo said. He said, but obviously you're looking for a CCU for the battle cruiser. So that's what he says you're looking for. Okay.
No, as we all are.
No, we all aren't. Okay, well that's the day.
No,
That's the
thank
day
you.
of the Vara. Let's move on. Alpha 4.3.2 is in the PTU. It went very quickly from first level to now it's open to everybody. These are just a few of the items that are listed here. As many of you all know, there's a lot of things that have, you know, I always find it interesting that there's a lot of folks out there who often say, oh, there's nothing coming up this year. There's nothing in the patch. And then the patch comes and somebody puts out a video saying, oh, there's a ton of stuff out there now. So there are quite a few things that are coming up in the 4.3.2 patch. And it looks like this is going to be what's the intended patch to be in place as we are approaching not digital CitizenCon, let me say the right thing, CitizenCon Direct next week. Are you guys surprised that they decided to drop this patch now? Or did you think that they were going to wait till after CitizenCon before they would drop the next patch?
Well, if you
No,
go
I think
into the patch. All right, go ahead, fastcart.
Okay, I'll go. So I think they wanted to drop it before CitizenCon. Typically, they have a free fly. They're going to get the free fly and everything up and ready before CitizenCon comes. That's my guess.
But don't you think that that's also one of the reasons why people don't want them to do it is that they worry about that being a dangerous thing to do, to put out a new patch right before they're going into something like CitizenCon because the stuff's not stable? It creates a problem. I'm just saying that's
knows about that, but people who are coming in for the free fly may or may not know. But
yeah, I know, but I'm just saying that's one of the things that people say.
We have a history. We have a history and some PTSD over that.
Mm-hmm.
But this year,
that's true.
The rate of patch dropping has been so often
Mm-hmm.
that I think people who have been here this year would expect that less.
Yeah,
right? Because things have moved very quickly from Evocati to Wave 1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen it where it's gone in one day from Evocati to all waves.
Yeah.
So if they're on that pattern, I think people feel a little bit more confident that it'll be all right.
Okay, that's fair. Go Mob, thank you so much for 57 months. He's going on 5 years. Holy smoke. We appreciate you, bro. We appreciate you. Thank you, and hope you're doing well. Okay. Yeah, there are several.
I mean, the challenge for you, Go Mob, is can you get to 15 years? That's all we want to know. That's all we want to know.
Oh, God. I don't think we're going to be around for 15 years doing this. You maybe throw that money at somebody else in 15 years, but I don't think it's going to be us.
Hey, speak for yourself, Griffin. I'll be here all the whole time.
You'll be here. Yeah, you'll be here. So let me ask you a question. There were some things, and if you guys want to highlight anything that you heard in relation to 4.3.2 that CIG has published or has been put out, is there anything that you guys are excited about in relation to this? I know there's everything from ships to new mechanics in the PTU. There's this new thing about salvaging that's out there. There's some adjustments done to the reclaimer. Anything that do you all want to highlight before we move on to the final subject here?
I was in for a hot minute, and that hot minute revealed that the Frontier Fighters finale looks to have a lot of priority missions.
Okay.
Not just the Hunt the Polaris mission.
Right.
People tend to go into those things and go right to the one that gives you the most money.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not necessarily where most of the story is being told, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I look forward to do it. I haven't done it. I just saw it. But that's what I look forward to engaging is a number of those priority missions. Yeah, those missions for Frontier Fighters, I think, is broken down into 3 sections, 3 weeks or something like that. It progresses and moves toward, which is interesting. What about you guys' feelings about this discussion on these ships that they've been talking about? We know that there's the, how come I can never think of the name of that ship? What's the Anvil ship?
One?
No, not the Anvil ship, the Paladin. Yeah, the Paladin. I'm trying to brain. I just drew a complete blank. What are the 3 ships? The Paladin. Oh, the possible Stinger, possibly.
Yeah, the Asperia Stinger.
And the Shiv. Yeah.
I'm just happy that my friend Shiver Bathory is getting a ship named after him. So congratulations, Shiver. I'm happy for you.
I'm sure he truly appreciates that. I'm sure he does. I'm curious. I know that Paul has given some aspects of the lore and the Gray's Market and the title possibilities for all of that. I'm very interested to see if those ships are, will be presented at SitCon, and in what way will they be presented.
And what does it tell us about not only Vanduul technology, but what Asperia is doing with Vanduul technology? It looks like in this patch already, current Vanduul ships we have access to have had augmented and changed sound design.
Yep.
So, what will this ship bring in terms of a new sensibility there? And, to be frank, I want, even the Asperia versions of these ships, I want to fear them, right? I want them to be a little bit problematic, right? In the best case scenario, I'd want them to do a combat a little bit differently. So I'm very interested in that, in what Asperia can do with that.
Yeah.
So.
I took the blade out yesterday and just did some very quick bounties with it just to see if I felt anything different with it. It's still not completely where I think it could be, but I had fun. With it. I know a lot of people don't like the blade. I like it. I'm a role playing person, so I like it, and I had a good time when I was out with it yesterday. I am looking forward to seeing the newer version of it that we've seen in Squadron 42 when they do finally translate it over and see what it's going to be like. We're going to say FC?
The blade is a single fighter, light fighter, right?
I guess that's a light fighter, probably, because I think that the one that I don't know I don't remember what the category is. They changed those doggone categories on some of the ships. Does anybody remember? Danger Hobo says yes, it is a light fighter.
Yeah. So it kind of reminds me. I think if I'm thinking about the correct ship, it kind of reminds me of a sideline fighter too. The way it's shaped.
Yes, absolutely, and the lighting on them too. Not old school Cylon.
Oh, thank you. Okay, because I was going back to the old round disc thing. I'm like, no, I don't think it's like that. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, again, I'm very interested to see where they're going to go with those ships. And as you mentioned, distinguishing them with the Asperia ships versus with the true Vanduul ships will also be interesting. But anyway, okay, yeah, that's that on that. And then last but not least, this is what we've got coming up next week. We are just 6 days away, 5 days away, 6 days away. 6 days away from CitizenCon Direct. As many of you all know, this year there is no CitizenCon in person, which, kind of blah for those of us who enjoy going to the convention. But it's not the first time that we have had a convention or a con that has been done online. Previous ones have been done in the past, sometimes because of COVID, things along that line. And before it was CitizenCon, digital CitizenCon or whatever. But anyway, to make a long story short, this time they've made a very clear distinction that this CitizenCon will be very much hyper-focused, only 2 hours roughly, and hyper-focused on the work that they are doing now leading into the next year. There's been also concerns or questions about whether or not there would be any presentations in relation to Squadron 42. CIG said no, there's not going to be any special presentations or anything in relation to Squadron 42. They did not say that they won't say anything about Squadron 42. They just said that they were not taking people
the only
off.
Thing they said there would be no presence.
Right, no presence. Right. And so, whether there will be something or not, we'll have to see. But I think that people are just as much curious about where will the persistent universe be going over the next year and what progress maybe has happened since CitizenCon of last year. We just yesterday recorded a new episode of The Producers, and it is on CitizenCon Direct and our hopium ideas, the things that we're hoping to hear. We're not predicting what they're going to talk about on this video. We're talking about, based upon what we've seen over the last couple of years at CitizenCons, those things that we would like to see them. So that video is available to those of you who subscribe to us on YouTube and Patreon, but it will be available to everyone beginning tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Eastern time or Chicago time, something like that. So you can always see it tomorrow. We always make our videos available to you all because you guys support us even just by being here. But you guys can see our opinions and thoughts on that. But very quickly and briefly, FC, you got any thoughts about next week? Your thoughts about CitizenCon Direct you want to share with anybody?
I had forgotten to mention that there's a couple of things that are on sale, like the CitizenCon Direct, the goodies pack, and the Duelist CitizenCon starter pack. Those are both Warmind. But they offer 24 months insurance for the ship and 20,000 UEC, not Alpha UEC, but UEC. So that's a jump, not a jump, but it's like higher than typical for these game packages. So I think that's something to interest. But you know, they're higher than $45, but you still you get a better ship. And the Day of the Var have a couple of ships too that are I think no is it Day of the Var? I forget. But they offer a couple of ships that had 20,000 UEC instead of just $10,000 and 24 months insurance. So if you go into that, maybe you want to pick that up for someone you know who may be interested in the game later.
Okay. And by the way, and before I go to SeriousFun, there's a couple things I want to mention. One of them is that there are going to be watch parties throughout globally. And some of those watch parties CIG will be attending. There's going to be one in Austin, Texas. There's going to be one in Salt Lake City, Utah, one in San Jose, California, one in Scottsdale, Arizona, one in Washington, D.C. Now, these are the ones that CIG will be participating in. In Europe, there'll be one in, is it Ebicon, Switzerland? One in Leicester, UK, in Europe. Leon, in Leicester. Thank you. But you know what? You know the stuff better than me. Would you please read what those are? Paris, France.
Where
I can say Paris. Leon, I can say Leon, Spain, and I can say Paris. Okay. But there's going to be 4 in Europe. Okay. And again, those are the ones that CIG will have some representation at. But even if CIG isn't there, there are plenty. I know here in where I'm at in Illinois, the Chicago Bar Citizen team has put together an event that will be in one of the Chicago suburbs that I plan on attending as well. And I'm sure there may be one in your area. So, you know, I would tell you, enjoy yourself. Go to one of these events. If you've never been to a Bar Citizen, it's basically going to be a Bar Citizen Con, right? Where people are going to watch together the presentation that's being made for those couple of hours. So if you want to check it out, feel free to do that. Okay.
It's important that you recognize that at this point, some of these things are sold out. So don't just roll up, check it out first. And if everything in your area is sold out, then you know you can come and check it out with the Soul Citizens. So
yeah,
that's the other thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, we are going to put out, and this is so last minute, I've been so busy, I did not do it. It was supposed to have been out by today. We are going to be doing a live, we do Zoom. We're going to be doing Google Chat. So if you want to sit in with us and watch it together, you guys will be more than welcome to do that. And if we want to hang around a little bit and talk about what we saw afterward, you guys can join us in that chat. I don't know. Should we? Let's do the chat, because if we do it in Discord, it means people have to join the Discord, and we don't want to make people have to join the Discord. So we're going to put up a QR code. We'll put it up in our social media, and we'll put it on our Discord. And if you guys want to join in on that conversation, then you'll be more than willing to have you guys join in on that. Okay.
The only other thing I
just read JJ's comment. Which is hilarious.
Funny.
What do you say?
I was going to say, let's have him do it. But the only other thing I would say about CitizenCon Direct is that somebody made the comparison of the living in the verse portion of a previous CitizenCon, the one where they had the 400i descend into Pyro and they walked us through Pyro. That was a 2-hour block that was super dense with information. And I expect this CitizenCon Direct to be a lot like that segment of that previous CitizenCon, to be very dense and very packed with information, to move very quickly through stuff. And to leave us with a lot more than you might expect in a 2-hour block. That's what I expect.
Yeah. Senor Mukul, thank you so much. 1,000 bits, big bit drop. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. No watch party from Griffin's living room. That's not happening. Thank you for sending that anyway.
I was about to hop on a train.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. All right, and so to take JJ's challenge, is it Worcestershire or Worcestershire? Which one is it?
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. All right, there we go. Worcestershire.
I just use A1.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. Well, that's all the stuff we're going to cover for this week.
Not sponsored.
There's plenty of stuff out here that we could be talking about, but we're just going to cover that for today because we do want to get to our topic for today. And that topic is game space, which is where we're going to be talking about. So if you guys would bear with us here. The idea of this that we're going to be talking about today is, and we've had this conversation with people, we've heard this conversation from people, we've read it on the forums and things like that. One of the most classic examples that I remember people talking about all the time was the 600i. When the 600i came out, people thought it was, some people hated it, right? I know. It's the flying bedpan. Okay, I get it. But there were people who felt like the space was underutilized, that the interiors may have been made differently or made better. People have said some of the same things in relation to the space stations, things like that. So what we're going to do today is kind of go in and examine that, find those areas that we think, this could be better. But we're also going to talk about maybe why some things are the way they are as well. And so we're going to be examining these and talking about gameplay aspects, things that CIG has talked about with why certain things are designed, even when CIG has said, hey, the design on this sucked. It wasn't that great. So we're going to be starting out with POIs and stations, landing zones first, then we're going to do POIs, and then we're going to be talking about ships. So without further ado, we're going to go to this one here. Lorville Hurston. And now, mind you, my co-hosts have not heard these questions that I'm going to be asking them, so we have to give them a second to gather their thoughts as I say this. But both of you guys were around with Hurston 1.0, and you remember how everything was pretty much centralized, and then CIG did their rework of it and expanded it even further. And in fact, they expanded it probably 5 times the size or maybe even more of what it was previously. For those of you who weren't around back in the day, when you came into Lorville, when you would fly in, the central part where the spaceport is, that's pretty much close to what was there before. But the perimeter gates that were outside of that area, gates 1 through, I think it's 1 through 6, there's 2, 2, and 2. That was it. That was as far as it went. And in fact, if you guys remember when we first got Lorville, when you tried to land there, you couldn't even get close to the facility. There was a force field. Remember the force field that was around it? And you had to park 2,000 K out and then run into it. It was totally different, right? But that has changed. They've expanded it. They allow us to fly through areas of it and all this other stuff. So FC, I'm going to come to you first. Since they've made these changes, what do you see? And what do you see do you see things that are good? And then if there's any possibilities of why you think they've done it or things that you see as to why they've done it, what might be some of those things? If you've got any of those, feel free to just toss them out.
Well, I just need to first say that I typically avoid Hurston, Lorville, because I prefer clean air, and I don't like the oppression. Classo, shout out to you. So the only time I think the one time that I visited Lorville and for a reason was because of the race for Stanton to get those cargo things. So other than that, I just typically avoid Hurston. But I do remember, like you said, the force field things were around different places, especially around that time. Like, and it was and typically by the time you see them, it was too late to try to dodge them. For me, anyway. But I do like that they took away the force field, and it still hard for me to. No, I think all cup is harder for me to find the spaceport than it is for Lorville, because I'm not used to it. But other than that, they still got the bagheads, so the air quality and stuff like that. But as far as the interior stuff, it's almost like a, what do you call it? I forgot, there's a word that describes a city planet. You know what I'm talking about? Not a megalopolis, but a word for a city planet. It kind of feels like that, but it's on a smaller scale compared to ArcCorp. But yeah, I can see where they're going. And this one has that. ArcCorp and Norville both have a cyberpunk that movie kind of feel the Hunter movie.
Blade Runner.
But, yeah. Blade Runner kind of feel to me. So I do appreciate that.
Okay. All right. Serious, what about you? Differences in design? Do you like what they did? Do you think that they missed it in some areas? Or do you think that But just give me some thoughts about the two different designs that they've done for Lorville.
Yeah, I was probably one of the few in my circle, one of the few detractors of Lorville 2.0, in that my hope continues to be that it is an interim state for testing of certain things. But I liked the um, the imposing feel of Lorville 1.0 in that you didn't have a lot of skyscrapers, you didn't have a lot of buildings that had any height whatsoever. There was a lot of low buildings, a lot of feeling like suppressed buildings, and then you had the imposing, imperious, tyrannical central business tower or the central headquarters. And that felt in lore for Hurston to me, right? It felt much more in lore that they would be the only ones that would build up, and everyone else had to build across or maybe build down. And that's what I was hoping for in the new Lorville 2.0, was that we were going to get a lot of the subterranean and build down sort of underground response to the tyranny of the Hurston family, right? That the Hurstons would be the only one that build up. Instead, what they did was they gave us stuff to test around, like building buildings, flying in between buildings, seeing a different type of Lorville with some some sycophants who got to build their building up to, but not as high as the central tower. And I'm okay with it. It just wasn't the direction I was hoping for. I was hoping for them to go down.
Okay.
Right? The way that they're talking about, we'll get to it. The way they talk about what they want to do with Area 18. So,
okay.
I liked the changes less, although I liked the sort of. It feels like Lorville 2.0 is almost like HD in its asset quality versus the first one. I think the asset quality is higher, and so it feels a bit more realized. But I think it's a little bit realized in the wrong way, in my view. So
okay, let me say this real quick. Roandme Peguero, thank you for the sub from YouTube. Appreciate you. We saw the name pop up in the background there, so thank you. I had to look it up to make sure I got the name. Thank you so much for the sub on YouTube. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
What I will say about the new design from Lorville 1.0 to 2.0, one of the things I did like was that the city, it became a metropolis. It became a much bigger city. And one of the things that is distinct there is that, as you mentioned, at the city center, where the Hurston building is, there is a focus of that building, and then the wealth or the status begins to spread out from there. So you've got the big Hurston building there in the middle, and then you go from there into these corporate high rises, and then you get into the high rises of probably where the wealthy people live, who have very elaborate buildings with neon lights and gold trim and all this. But then as you get further and further out into the work area, it becomes much more dismal, way more dystopian. And you get into these huge, large areas where these what are those things, Serious? Those big vats out there that they got the steam rolling off, and the big, like the big smelters and molten, and then you've got these huge industrial hangars that are out there. And the thing that I'm sad about, but anticipating, is that I was hoping that when we would start getting missions, that our delivery would be, especially for those people who are doing industrial resource work. And this could tie in later on when we talk about cargo decks and everything else. I wanted those hangars to start becoming industrial hangars. That's where the Caterpillars or the Freelancer Maxes, that those extended hangars and areas would be the areas where you would be delivering materials, raw materials, and resources. And then the more centralized spaceport would be much more for civilian activity, and so, or transport activity. And so I've always hoped that that was what we would start to see happen once they started putting this. It's not that it won't, but obviously they put those hangars and different platforms in these different areas. And it's not just in Lorville, it's in other areas too, that we will start being able to have missions that are focused into that. And players are now starting to spread out and utilize more of the game designed areas that CIG has put together. So anyway, go ahead, fastcart.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but they did the Lorville 2.0 in kind of in phases, or did it? Because what I remember is
It was
they
all
put out Norville 2.0, but the hospital was really complete. Am I remembering that correctly? Or like Maria Pure Heart,
not
and,
that
and later on, because I remember
when
I thought that the hospital.
When it first came out, the hospital was just the front, and that was it.
Okay. Okay. So it all came out at one time. Okay. Yeah.
It was just the front, but I mean, the hospital was
appreciate-
there. The hospital was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
The
it was,
hospital there, we couldn't go inside.
but that was it, right? And then later on, they made
Yeah,
it so that we had access.
So I did like the new hospital when they added that. 'Cause that I like the idea of one of the Hurstons portraying themselves as a sainted or being pure of heart, as the case may be. And yeah, so I like that aspect of it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, just make sure you listen close to the quotes. The
Yeah.
quotes, the way they quote her is really about get your butt
Get you back to work.
That's
Get
what
back to
really-
work. Yeah, get well so you can go back to work. So you can go make us some more money, right? All right, let's go to New Babbage. Sirius, I'm gonna come to you first on this one. New Babbage. Once again, there has been some tweaking to it over the years from when we first got it. What are your thoughts about design, layout, what's available to it, things of that nature?
Well, this was one of the first landing zones we got where we felt like that auxiliary entrance over by the conference center was really useful on a regular basis, and I like that a lot. I generally like New Babbage when the trains are running on the tracks and the server ain't acting crazy. It feels really good and smooth. You know, I'm almost surprised that there aren't escalators up and down to what's that store?
The Apple Store?
Yeah.
I always call it the Apple Store.
New something.
Front line. What is it called, y'all? Factory line. Thank you, Jay. Factory line.
Factory line.
Yeah, factory line. I'm almost surprised there aren't like escalators taking you up and down. That's how smooth the New Babbage experience overall feels. I loved going over to Wally's Bar, you know, especially when it transformed into that late night disco with the DJ up top and the dance floor and the way the dance floor is transformed.
Yeah.
It is a very I think that this is very well realized and sort of you know, you get a sense of it being this sort of pushback against the cold, right? Where it's like, hey, we put ourselves here, even though this didn't terraform just right. We're going to create a little bit of an oasis in here. You got people doing yoga, right? I like New Babbage a lot. I like the layout a lot. I want to see more NPCs fill up the space. But that's not necessarily a function of the design. I think the design is waiting for more NPCs to fill up the space. You can't accommodate it versus trying to go the other way, right? So, you know, I think New Babbage was very well done. You know, the one thing I would probably add would be, you know, how in today's airports you have smaller versions of popular stores at the airport, right? I might add a couple of those over at the spaceport so that you don't have to run back to the commons for everything.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I might do something like that. That would be it, though.
Yeah. So. Okay. FC, what about you? New Babbage. Any thoughts about the design there? Could be better, could be worse. You like it?
New Babbage is one of my true homes for Stanton. I do like it. SeriousFun touched on a lot of points that I was thinking of. The place where the NPCs do yoga, that is wide open, and maybe they could fill that in with a few more NPCs that are working when they work, hopefully. One thing I'm sure SeriousFun didn't point out was I like the tunnel that's in the common. It connected to connect your station and the place where the bar is at. I forget the names are not coming to me. But I like you can look outside, go through the tunnel, and everything that you see, if you see a ship flying over you, there's someone in that ship. It's not like a skybox or a presentation or anything like that. There's some people who may experience new badges for the first time may think that oh, that's just there. No, that's actually someone in there that that you see flying over you. So I do like that tunnel. The stores and everything, yeah, are pretty cool. You mentioned vacuum line, yeah. I like it because it looked futuristic. It had that clean kind of Star Trek kind of feel. It had air view hangers. I'm hoping either that new Babbage or Orson will get a revenue look whenever that becomes available. And one of the, I guess it's a function, not really a feature, is that I think New Babbage is one of the few places where you can't really buy ships. You can rent ships, but it's not a great place for buying ships or shopping in general, except for clothes. You can buy a lot of clothes there, but when it comes to weapons, they have some selection, but other places might have a better selection.
Yeah, there's
Center Mass has gotten better for that.
Yeah,
Center Mass and the other spot that's sort of kitted out in a little bit of orange. I can't remember the name of it. They've gotten a little bit better for that, but
okay.
Yeah. One of the things I like in the social, I don't know what we want to call each one of those domes, but when you're at the commons, there's the general area, like you said, where the yoga things are and stuff. But there's the one side that goes to Wally's bar, and then there's the other side that goes to where the factory line and those things are. One of the things that and this is not just at New Babbage, but I'm only going to mention at New Babbage, is that when you're making that circle around to get to Center Mass and go to the different dance floors and things like that, there are things there, like there's the high-end restaurant, there's the beauty salon, there's the FTL place. There's all these different things there that, there's a part of me that wants to see life breathed into those areas, right?
Yeah.
Where that there are, and I know that some of this is heavily dependent upon NPCs and things like that to be in place to respond. But to walk past Oza, I would love that fine cuisine restaurant to actually have some type of activity. For those of you who've been around a long time, some of us remember when there were no NPCs in the game, or when they were all T-posing.
Yeah.
And the world felt very dead. It depending on, sometimes you get in certain areas where landing zones where there were players running around. But there are times I do feel the difference when NPCs, when they are operating correctly, when they are moving, when they are welding or checking something or doing something, it does make the world feel simulated or alive in some way. So I would love to see those NPCs walking in and out of those venues, even if they're just treated as a spawn closet, but just something that brings greater activity in there. And New Babbage I would love to see it. When you go down to the factory line store, one of the things I love about that is that there's a lot of stuff down there that ties into the lore of the game and the direction that CIG wants to go with implementing certain aspects of things in the game. And so everything from hollow tables to the lenses that you'll wear in your eyes to be able to get information, the pads that are on the wall. There's a lot of stuff down there, even the Moby glasses that are down there. I want to see life get breathed into those areas. I do like that store in the sense of the way it's designed. If there was anything else I would say about Microtech that I don't like, is that it's surrounded by so much. I mean, we can say this about any of this, whether it's Hurston, R-Corp, whatever. They're surrounded by all these other facilities that we don't access, that we don't go to. I used to love, let me say this real quick. I used to love at R-Corp, when I didn't want to go into the spaceport, I would land on the R-Corp North building on that roof and log out there. And I would log back in there. So if I didn't want to have to run from my hab all the way to the spaceport and all that stuff, it was nice to land on a building, log out, and come back into the game. And for me as a role player, it was like, oh, this is the building I live in. I came up to my, my flight deck on my roof and I left, right? But from a gameplay standpoint, it was still nice that I could land on any of those locations, log out of the game, and then log back in. Now you can't do that. Now you have to go to a spaceport, And I hope that later on, when we start renting apartments or renting places like that, that ability will come back. I don't want those pads just to be there because you're delivering a box or delivering a pizza. I'm hoping that they become a part of residential or org locations in the game. Go ahead, Sirius. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with all that. And for those that are new to the game, there is a secret rooftop in New Babbage that has a painting on it that you might want to check out. I will leave it at that. But the other thing I would say about an interim step in the testable alpha that they might consider is to take spaces like this and have them with permanent NPC activity. Even if Oza restaurant opened up and every table was full and the only activity was the maitre d' or the host at the front saying, sorry, tables are full. Like, we don't have anything for you.
Yeah.
And then flip that on its head and maybe put a mission giver in there. And so one time you can go in and sit down with the mission giver and do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would just give it a little bit more life.
Yeah. What was the bar? I know Jade's here. I could tap into her brain. The bar that was at Levski began with an M, the Louisiana name. And remember when you went in there was a Cafe Moussain. Thank you, Jade. And there were patrons in that bar, and there was a mission giver there. That's where Eckhart was back in the day, right? And you would go in there and meet him. I agree. It would be very cool to be able to open up that restaurant and have something like that going on. I think that would be very, very cool.
Two quick points before we move on. I want to say thank you for Opchi for that prime.
Yes, thank you, Ops. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Yes.
And the other thing is, the cold, the surrounding of New Babbage, all that snow, it sucks in the winter because you actually feel colder. but in the summer it's great for me. Because I can almost feel it. Well, maybe that's because I'm so old and it looks realistic. So maybe the younger generation don't feel that. But I do like the surroundings around New Babbage of Microtech.
Okay. Well, here's my one complaint I will say about Microtech, and it's the fact that Apparelli and some places sell all these cool winter clothes and winter jackets, and they don't do squat. So, I would love the fact that if I put on that big purple thing with the big pants and the hood and everything, that when I'm out in the cold, it actually protects me. And it doesn't. And I would love to have that level of interaction. When I come to your point, when I come to that winter world, I should be thinking about making sure I bring the clothes, because whether I wear a flight suit or whether I wear that big outfit, it doesn't make a difference. Right. So I would love to see something like that be, much more applicable. And again, I would love to see some of these other buildings. They're beautiful buildings, beautiful architecture there. But I would love it to and remember, this was years ago. Remember when they showed that video of us looking inside the buildings? Remember that? And they were showing the interiors and stuff that they were working on. That all came to a screeching halt. Not screeching halt, but we just haven't had any progress with that yet. And if you go up to the buildings now, you can look inside, and there's a 3-dimensional view inside of those buildings. But we're not there yet. We don't have those spaces yet.
They got to make Star Cloth. They got to make Star Sim. They got to make all the other stuff to have higher priorities. So,
well,
yeah, they need to make Star Building too. Whatever Star Building, get Star Building done.
All right, let's go to Orison. I grabbed this picture off the internet because this is kind of like my vision of what I would like to see happen at some place like that, where you can see where these people have actually parked their ships out there on the platforms. I would love for orgs, for example, like that building number 2 there, if that's an org building, they're renting space there that they could park their big corporate 890 or whatever outside on that area. That would be their landing pad. Orison's unique because obviously it's the floating city. But I'll throw it to you guys. What are your feelings on Fastcart? I'll come to you first this time on Orison. You like the design, frustrated with the design, confused with the design. What are your thoughts about it?
I still get lost in Orison when I'm trying to figure out which not tram, but you call them the shuttle I want to take to get to whatever place I'm trying to get to. So even though it's also one of my two homes, one of them being New Babbitt and the other one being Orison. I haven't learned it in my head, unfortunately, and that's on me. But I would just write it down some notes. One thing I do love about Orison is the feel of it. It's not. It is a cloud city, but it's not like Bespin or Star Wars, something like that. It has its own feel. The cherry blossoms. I've never been in the game. I don't recall ever being in the game, to put it that way, where I see cherry blossoms falling from trees and stuff like that. So I think that's cool. Maybe because the technology wasn't there before and they couldn't allow it. So that's another thing. But yeah, and one of my complaints about Ocean or the shuttles, they do tend to. I want to say they take longer than what I would expect, especially if it's flying around and getting from place to place. So that aspect, I think they could speed up the shuttle a little bit. Other than that, it's also clean. It doesn't have that Star Trek feel, but it is clean also. And yeah, I typically like Orison.
Okay. Okay. Serious, what about you?
Yeah, three things. I think that fastcart, you're not wrong in that, on the one hand, yes, you got to remember Cloudview versus Providence, right? In terms of the direction you want to go. But the signage should also be, there should be symbology that works if you don't speak English. What if you're a Xi'an? What if you're a Tavaran, right? They need to think about that. They've done some of that at Area 18. We'll talk about that when we get there, but they need to do more of that, I think, at Orison, so that you can just say, oh, if I'm going for parts or if I'm going to Cousin Crow's, I know that I'm going over here. And you don't have to remember that's Providence versus Cloudview or whatever. I think they can do a better job with signage. They can do a better job with the placement of the shuttle timer wait signs. Some of them you've got to come back out away from where you're waiting for the shuttle to see how much time do I have left. And so I think they can tweak those things. The other thing is, Griff, I love what you're talking about. I when I first got the L-21 Wolf, I took it over to Orison. I landed over there at what I call one of the little putting greens out in front of and somebody else was already there. Right. And we flew around. And then I came back later and they were still there. And we talked about how exactly what you said. Wouldn't it be great if this was almost like, Monte Carlo, where you see the rows of yachts, right? You see rows of 890 jumps or rows of, like this picture that you have, right? That's sort of the sensibility that this has. I love Orison. I think it's a fantastically realized concept, just in terms of the lore and what it means to just create a floating city. It obviously it's evocative of Bespin, where Lando Calrissian was the administrator of that facility. And I think they've done an incredible job. Fastcart, your point around the little breeze and the cherry blossoms falling. I love that. I also very often will start, even if I don't choose this as my home, this is one of the first places I'll go because I feel like they're going to slip space whale tours in and nobody goes over there to the space whale tour area. And I just want to be the first one to catch that on surprise. So I love that. Things that I would improve or just amplify at Orison are the idea of, and I think this is going to be a theme for me throughout all the landing zones. How much of the up and down can we get to use, right? How much of the all the stuff that they're learning about and testing about in hangars as habs, essentially what we're doing. I'd love to see them apply that, and so that we can begin to I want the 17th floor of building 2 in this picture, right? And I want to be able to start looking out and owning that and securing a place for my vehicle, et cetera, et cetera. And even if some of that stuff has to be instanced, that's okay. We're learning about that with hangars as well. So
yeah,
I would love to see that. I also want to see a return to some of the missions that we've had on platforms. I think that
yes,
they were developing a lot there, and not only Siege of Orison, but other little missions on these platforms as well. And that gave the whole of Crusader beyond Orison it gave it more fuller dimension. So I was enjoying that as well. So
yeah. You know, I'm going to go back to the original shot for our promo for this week to show something very quickly. And it's this picture here, right? And CIG used this in one of their videos about interiors, describing how they wanted to be able to break down these buildings. And Orison was the beginning of that. For you, to your point, Sirius, when we first started getting those missions over there, remember you would land on the roof, but there would be the lobby area. There was maybe another floor in between. I think maybe the most you ever had was 3 floors total. But to your point, I would love to see that these buildings become that, not just here at Orson, but you know, at all the locations, like you said. So that and I think and I, you know, this is just me speaking, y'all. I'm not saying CIG said anything in particular, but I think that is the direction that we will eventually get to. I once again I've logged out on buildings and logged in on buildings back in the day, but now we don't have that luxury, and I do miss those missions that were over here. I really do. I think with these stepped up AI now, it would be great to go back over there and revisit those missions again. If you go there now, it's a ghost town. Some of the platforms you can't even access anymore. You get a restriction thing that'll pop up. But I don't know if the restriction actually bumps you out or not, but I do know a restriction thing pops up on the screen. But there are still some locations you can go to. But of course, there's nothing going on when you get over there. There's no NPC activity. There are no missions over there. But I do miss that. The only other thing I would say about Orison, as far as design goes, it will be interesting to see. There are some times when I'm looking at Orison and you start to feel things are kind of cut and paste, you know. There are some distinctive things. There are some distinct, like the areas obviously where the shipyards are and things like that are distinctive. But once you start floating out to the other areas, it would be interesting to see if they start coming up with some other types of designs to make things visually more unique. And I know that's been a complaint in relation to space stations and everything else. One other last point about Orison. Orison is the one place where we do have a ship manufacturer. That Crusader is there. When we get to Terra, we know that Origin is there. When we get to Magnus, we know that Drake is there. But we do have a ship manufacturer there, and I would love that. You know, when people need to get ships at some point, if they need to get a Crusader ship, you go to the Crusader showroom, you know, to order your ship or whatever. But that would be down the line later on.
Last thing I'll add real quick and fast card, then I'll get out of your way is I imagined something I think broader for Cousin Crows than what we've gotten.
Yeah.
I imagined pulling my ship in to Cousin Crows and watching a painting process, right? Or maybe, you know, jumping on the painting app or a painting screen to do painting over at Cousin Crows. And my hope is that something like that will return as well, right? I like the idea not of just clicking a button and the paint is on there, but enacting a process. Right?
Oh, you try to put a time sink into the game. You know, Star Citizen people don't want time sinks. They don't want time sinks.
Yeah, what I was going to say, I forgot to mention, I like how the stores and everything are close by to where you spawn, to where the hab's at. You just hop out of your hab and you can get your food and your weapons and your ammo all on the same island or the same same area basically. So I like how it's laid out that way. I think ArcCorp may be similar, but I'm more familiar with how it is on Orison.
ArcCorp is horrible. We'll talk about ArcCorp when they get to them. I can tell you about ArcCorp. Go ahead.
Or maybe I'm thinking about
both of your points, though.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, the last point I wanted to make, this is point of interest where Molly goes on a rampage, and I hope they say Molly was here someday. So I'm gonna go visit the area where Molly had her adventure.
I bet you if you took a poll, I bet you if you
you.
took a poll right now, you'd only have about 10% of the people who knew who Molly is. So I don't think it's going to be that serious. But okay.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. But just to both of your points, right, about the Star Citizen player not wanting a time sink and going out of your hab. When you go out of your hab, don't run, walk.
Yeah.
Especially at Orson, and walk outside some of those outer balconies and check out that view. Right? We don't want CIG to think that they built this for nothing, because this is the stuff.
Yeah.
Right? This is for me. This is part of the gameplay, and check out some of these vistas and views and the way that things are moving and all that stuff. I maybe I'm too old school for y'all, but well, I love that stuff.
You know, I think what's great is that there's appreciation. I think that different people will take those times, like those efforts, like when you walk out on the platform, to Fastcart's point. If you walk out of the hab and before going over toward where the store and the hospital is, if you decide to go down where the whale sculpture is, if you go down to where the tonal art culture is, where the wind blows and the chimes go through, there are some players who have never experienced that. They don't even know it's there. And I think we just want to encourage people to explore the areas. You know, for some people, it's been there, done that. I saw it, no big deal. There are other people who actually enjoy going into those areas and trying them out. But, you know, again, I agree with you 100%. There's a lot of detail out there that people should. And again, reading those different plaques that are out there that explain what the view is or what's going on there, I think is pretty fabulous. It's pretty cool stuff.
To your point, Griff, it's got to be special. I don't know what word I would describe to it, but there are players who like play a game for like a week and then turn off all the audio for that game and never hear anything ever again in that game. Because it's not a game to do that, Aaron.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, Jade, you're I was just messing with Fastcart because he's been on a Molly thing ever since Molly showed up. Believe me, I know there are people that know who Molly is in the game. But he's and actually, Jade, to your point, I think I'm going to go with the prisoner said. He said FC has had too much Molly, if you know what we're talking about, right? So you know, so I'll
go drink and drive. I go say no to drugs.
All right. Last but not least, let's talk about my home, Area 18. Actually, I have a character on all the planets except for Hurston, but this is my main drag is Area 18. And to Fastcart's point earlier, even though when I remember we first saw Hurston in Lorville, I remember thinking Blade Runner. It was even more for me when I went to Area 18. So Sirius, let me go to you first on Area 18. Likes, dislikes, changes, you know, pros and cons. What do you got?
I feel like I can't look out my window in my hab even when I'm laying down. You know, I just want to be able to look a little bit out the window. It feels a little bit, you know, it's almost like that opening scene of Ghost in the Shell where Major Kusanagi sits up in the bed, but I don't even get to look out the window like that. So give me a little bit more.
But to your point, let me cut you in real quick. To your point, Hurston and ArcCorp, Area 18, which were the earlier designs, neither one of them had that feature, right? Where you can look outside, which is nice. And Microtech and Orison, it is a nice thing to be able to have that window. So to your point, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just shows the evolution and how they've thought about it too, right?
Yep.
But I do like being able to go right downstairs and be at my weapon shop and a clothing shop, even though that clothing shop is tired and needs a lot more new stuff.
Kasaba.
Kasaba is tired. It is tired. It is the TJ Maxx of the verse.
Yeah.
It needs some new stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because we've done so many things over at Area 18, you know, for those that have been around a long time, this was sort of the social module first. And so I remember running away from golf carts trying to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
In the
I'm
social
sorry about
module.
that.
That's how people socialize with me. Very first time I went into the social module was to try to run me
Mm-hmm.
over. But it does feel very this is where it's happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have gone and just sat at the G-Lock bar. In fact, I have a video on my channel of 3 hours of dancing at the G-Lock bar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like this is when you talk about if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. In Stanton, that would be Area 18. So that does give me that feel.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, I don't mind, you know, the jog or the walk from the Habs to the convention center when something's happening there, or to the spaceport. And I do love the emergence of these wild lines
Mm-hmm.
that give me something to listen to as I pass conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I don't know. I feel like the Empire Hospital would have a bigger presence in a
Mm-hmm.
city like Area 18.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It
It's almost
feels a
like a
little bit
storefront.
like it's almost like a storefront. It's almost like you could run by it and miss it. And
Mm-hmm.
that shouldn't happen with a hospital for a city like that, in my view.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I would examine that. And then, you know, I was very pleased last year to hear about the depths and
Mm-hmm.
to hear about the maintenance, because that, and I was, you know, sort of waiting for Area 18 to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
For all of these landing zones and all of these locations, I want verticality. Fastcart put the word in the chat. I want to be able to know that there is activity that is going up and down
Mm-hmm.
in these spaces. They've built them out. Now let's go up and down.
Yeah.
And so that's I think the one thing that's missing for me is that. And then I'll end with our corporate general as this is the 18th area.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of areas.
Right.
I want this stuff replicated all over the Coruscant of the verse.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. I think there's like area up to area 20, I think. It's been a while since I've seen all the numbers, but yeah, absolutely. Thorn 1234000. Thank you for that follow. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
FC, your thoughts about area 18?
Yeah, SeriousFun covered some of the aspects I was going to mention. The social model. This is the granddaddy of landing zones when it comes to Star Citizen. In 2014, CitizenCon, that's where we first started. They first previewed the social module, and that's what got me to become a backer in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this had a lot of history, and I appreciate it and nostalgia for me. I'm glad you had this shot on the screen because this is the what do you call it? The Arc Corp. I just had it up. I just had it up. It's called a Fear thing. Hold on, let me see if I can find it again real quick. Oops, wrong one. Not a copy. Okay, they call it Outcrop Cog Fear Replica. Oh, Outcrop Cog Fear. For the longest time, I've been trying to find the name of that monument, and because of the new referral, they have it because. For like ever since 2016, I've been suggesting that they make a snow globe out of this because they had snow globes and releasing it as a subscriber player. So I said, and they were taking suggestion for new subscriber player. I said, make a snow globe out of this, and it took until the referral bonus to get this. So this is. I don't quite have it yet. I'm still working on the referrals, so hopefully I get one soon.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I have appreciation for Arcorp because when it first started, you had it's like a mini game trying to dodge the buggies so you don't die when you're trying to walk around. One of my favorite parts of the old one compared to the new one is when you get to this bridge, you look up, you see all the ships flying. Back then it was a skybox, but now it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So you look up, you see people flying real ships.
Mm-hmm.
I don't typically pick this at my home point because I do prefer New Rapids and Orison, but this is like my third one. if I were to choose. Other than that, what did I put? No, yeah. When you come in for the landing, the spaceport is one of the easiest to find for me because it had that neon screen right above the TIASA spaceport. So I do appreciate that when it comes to our core.
You're thinking about Hurston or Lorville.
TIASA?
That's Lorville. That's Lorville.
Oh, okay, well, my mistake there.
Area 18. Area 18 added, and when we went to 4.0, they added a new line or lights that lead into the spaceport now. So when you're coming in, you can actually see from the sky where the spaceport is. So you need to.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Depends on the weather. It depends on the weather.
Yeah, it depends on the weather. Yeah, depending on the weather. But in general, the weather's not dynamic there now, so you can usually see it. But it makes it a lot easier. There were a lot of people who were having a problem. Because I lived there, I never had a problem with it, but a lot of people had problems flying into or finding the spaceport. Once they found it, it was no big deal. And the other thing is that they lowered the height of the R-Corp building, the main one, because it used to be a spire that went into the clouds. And before, if you could find that, you could turn and find where the spaceport was. But now they've lowered that building now to a much lower height. It's only about maybe 2,500, maybe 3,000, not even higher. I know it's like about 2,000 meters high, but it's much lower than it was before. And so they put those lights in, and you can see it now. Mm-hmm.
You mentioned how the other place had a force field. Our club had the force field too, and that was annoying. I was just to crash into it. I'm glad they got rid of it or lowered it. And as far as the tram for the transportation, I don't have too much issue with it because it's mostly linear, so I can just find where I'm going, and it's easy to get to and from places for me.
Okay. I would say my issue with, and this may be, I don't know if this is the lore of R-Corp or not, there is no restaurant in R-Corp. You do have the G-Lock bar, but all the food is provided by street vendors here. So, you either got to go to the burrito stand or the hot dog stand or something along those lines. There is an actual bookstore there with magazines and stuff, and you can't buy anything there. So that's all static. And so it's very frustrating when you want to get, when you go to Microtech, you can literally go downstairs from your hab, and there's a mini mart there that has a variety of different foods there. Same thing at Orison, but at R-Corp, it is extremely limited, and it's all junk food. Even Microtech has the healthier foods that are there, and it's all junk food. So unfortunately, I find myself getting more of the dehydrated, beef jerky things and getting some water and leaving and getting my food elsewhere. So I do wish that there was, because there is a bar, a full-fledged bar like G-Lock, I would think that they would have some type of restaurant in that area. Let's see. About R-Corp. What else is there about R-Corp? The sad thing about R-Corp is that there's only really those two areas, right? There's the area where we see right now, which kind of branches off into where New Deal is and Casaba and things like that. And then there's the spaceport. But it's surrounded by a tremendous amount of locations. Now, there is the convention center, which is, of course, only used during IAE or during Invictus. But unlike New Babbage and some of the other places where you feel like there's much more of a spreading out, R-Corp is kind of very central hubbed. But to your point, Sirius, that's also because there are other areas, 18, 4, 16, whatever. There's other areas for us to go to. R-Corp is also the next planet to be reassessed and go to 2.0. The design of R-Corp currently versus the way it is in the lore are two different things. R-Corp is not a megapolis. It's not like a planet of all completely covered buildings. There are other areas that are natural areas. There are areas of bodies of water, but there are these different areas that are spread out throughout the locations. And I've flown to some of those other ones and gone out to them and taken a look at them. But right now, everything is just kind of steel and concrete kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to the other biomes that will be created here, as well as the general makeover of Area 18 in the future. I still like it a lot. I still love being there. Serious, I didn't even think about it, but it's always been in the back of my head that Empire just does not look like a hospital, especially when we look at the Microtech Hospital, the Orison Hospital, Maria Pure of Heart, you get to you literally, as you said, could run right past Empire and not even know that that's the main hospital. It almost looks more like a clinic entrance more than what would be a hospital at a facility like that. So I do believe that there needs to be a bit more of work done in that area. And to your point, Sirius, I think that both Hurston and ArcCorp have that multi-level design area. I think Hurston's will still get it because if you look at the structure of it, there are those lower levels and decks, especially if you fly through it, you can see it. But like you said, they just haven't opened that up yet. But I think to have those subterranean areas would be amazing for both ArcCorp and Hurston because that's what you would feel like those areas would have.
Clear about it.
Mm-hmm.
They become very clear about the maintenance areas and the depths.
Mm-hmm.
And so hopefully they don't abandon that development pathway and they really do that and test that stuff out as part of the ArcCorp redo.
Yeah.
That would be very exciting.
Absolutely.
I was always a fan of Star Wars 1313. The idea of descending and descending and descending into Coruscant. And I'd love something like that with Area 18. So.
Yeah, it would be very cool. Okay, listen, we're going to take a quick... Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick. One thing I do like about ArcCorp is that when it's nighttime and you stare down, you can see all the traffic of the NPCs or hopefully NPCs in the future going to and from. I do like the city aspect of ArcCorp.
Yeah, there is a weird. I don't know if it's a bug. It's got to be a bug, but I don't know if it is a precursor to what they're trying to do. But ever since we got 4.1, I think it was 4.1, if you come in at nighttime, the planet is lit up in a much broader way, where you see what would be to your point, fastcart, the equivalent of roads or whatever it is, right? Where before it used to be just Area 18 was lit up like that, but now the planet looks that way. Now, mind you, that I think that's just all testing, but sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. It all depends. But I am very curious to see once the biomes are structured. I want to see, are there transportation routes to go from Area 16 to Area 18, things like that? Will you be able to get on a tram that will take you to that area? Is there a reason to take a tram, or will it just be all based on flight? We'll have to see where they go with that later on, but that's my thing on Area 18. We're going to take a quick commercial break because we're actually over by 30 minutes. I'm not even sure if we're going to get through all our material today. So we're going to take our quick 1-minute commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk to you guys about POIs. So stick around. We'll be right back. Hello, hello, hello. If you are watching us, thank you for being here with us today. We really appreciate you all being here. If you're an artist, because you're a supporter of our channel, and we cannot say thank you more than enough. You keep us going each week here, and we truly, truly appreciate it. FC Serious, you guys want to say anything to everybody? You got 40 seconds.
You got our back, and thank you. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
At this time and at this place, we're just really appreciative.
I'm looking forward to seeing y'all doing CitizenCon in the Google, what they call the Google video, and I think it'll be a fun time. So looking forward to seeing y'all.
Yep. And don't forget to check out our latest episode of The Producers. That's called CitizenCon Direct, our review or our opinion or something like that. If you're a subscriber, if you're on Patreon, you should be able to see that now. But if not, it will be out tomorrow morning. Be sure to check that out. I think you'll enjoy our conversation that we have. Okay,
it's our opium.
Yeah, it's our opium. Yeah, it's our opium. Okay, we are back. We are going to pick up where we left off at. Today we were talking about game space and how the different spaces are used. And we're going to kind of move on to a different area now, which is going to be about stations. These are things that have been put into the game. And boy, when they first got put in, they generated some excitement. And then it's like all the air went out of the balloon, right? So... Sirius, I'm going to go to you on this one first. Let's talk about the cargo decks. Thoughts? Is it coming? Waste of space? Is it just cosmetic?
I'm happy that they're there, right?
Okay.
I like going down to the cargo deck. I like whether it is in Stanton or in Pyro. Just a pro tip for folks. You don't have to drink that jacked up water on the one level of Pyro. You can go to a cargo deck and get yourself some cruise,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can drink better,
Oh, I wish I'd
live
known that
better.
before.
Yeah. But I do like that the cargo decks are there. I like the way they're laid out. In a perfect world, I'd like a little bit more variety
Mm-hmm.
in how they're laid out.
Mm-hmm.
There was a period of time, for those that were around, if you remember some of the around the verse and reverse the verse, when we talked about in the run up to getting cargo decks, they talked about trying to build this stuff on the stations, whether it was the Galleria level or the cargo decks or whatever, in a way that there was some modularity, right? Where they could plug and play. And I think we see that with some of the other levels and layouts, but I don't think we see it enough with the cargo deck layout.
Yeah.
I also would like to see some direct fly cargo decks, right, in stations where you come in and you land in the cargo hangar versus somewhere else, and you do direct work with the station, right? Or to your point earlier, Griff, maybe there's a certain type of ship that, because of its size, because of its purpose configuration, it always goes to the cargo deck. It doesn't really go to those other hangars, right, to do its business, like a Caterpillar or something like that. And so I think there's more to do here, but I am happy with what has been done.
Okay. FC, cargo decks?
Yeah, I'm going to try to get through these quicker. Cargo decks, I honestly don't spend that much time in there, because when I do go there, I'm buying like a tractor beam or something like that. So I just go. I do what Griffin says he just like game is doing. He just run through, get to the way to go, and then come back. And typically, I'm late for a soul station or something. So yeah, I don't spend too much time in the cargo decks, unfortunately, but I do appreciate that it's there.
Okay. I got a lot of problems with the cargo decks because I'm a cargo person, I'm industrial person. I am extremely frustrated that, to your point, this is not the place where those of us who do cargo go. The fact that we go to the civilian side of the station to do everything drives me crazy. At this point, in the earlier days, no big deal. For example, there are people standing behind counters there that could easily be the mission givers for when you come into an area to do a transaction. Instead, I've got to run to the Galleria, wherever that is, or the admin office, right? Because it's the Galleria in the space station, it's the admin office at a landing zone. I've got to go to those areas to go conduct business. And to me, it's like, why don't we, if it's cargo related, if it's resource related, just like the refinery, when we go to the refinery, we go to the refinery, right? The whole sea, anything in relation to that, this is where I should be going. Hopefully when they're
if you're gonna trucker, this should be space trucker. A space trucker doesn't go anywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when you go to the gas station, right? The trucks go to one side, the civilian cars go to another side, right? So I wish that these areas were where those of us who are industrialists, we go to get our missions, we go to deliver things, we go to get our supplies. Fastcart, to your point, I should be going to get my multi-tool and all my other stuff at this area or at the refining area, not at the civilian area, right? It forces, one of the things it does is get you to start utilizing all the space. And I know there are some people who don't like that. They want to do one-stop shop. They want to, it's like going to the Kelto, right? And you can get your bubble gum, but you can also buy your freaking rifle. It's like, yeah, okay, right. Okay. Don't get me started, right? But the fact that we have these dedicated areas, I would love to see certain aspects of, just because the mentality behind it is, if I know I need something cargo related, I should go to the cargo deck, right? That's all I'm saying. Just like if it's something in relation to the mining and refinery, I go to the refinery. So I'm a little disappointed
and if you are doing cargo, you should only have to go to the cargo decks everywhere. If you want to, you shouldn't have to go anywhere else.
Yeah. Listen,
I agree with you. It's a great point.
I would have loved to have had, what do you call it? Docking collars down where the cargo deck area is, right? Where the whole seas, because we go there to load up, right? We do the little, the magic box thing, right? But it would also have been nice to say that's where those, like we have those landing platforms that are outside. I would have loved to have said, to your point, You know, you got that big garage door when you land on a landing platform. Why can't I land on that platform, that garage door open, and that's where I start moving my cargo back and forth, right? It could be force fielded or it could be just enclosed hangars, but I really wish that there was a connection that took place in these areas. We're not gonna belabor these points. Let's move on to the next one here. The refineries.
Well, the only thing I'll really quickly say is that Nyx and what we've seen for Nyx and the borehole and the way that hulls can pull up there might inform some of this.
Start being able to go that direction. Yeah, absolutely. The refineries. I'm not going to say anything about the refineries other than the fact that I wish there was more to do. I think they're beautifully laid out. I think the realism is there, the effect of being there. People are working in there. Seeing the molten materials and stuff is exciting. I just wish that there was more mission-based things in relation to repair. You know, going into the area, maybe repairing things, or we're doing repair in Pyro, but just repair machinery just to make some extra money or do some things in here. Maybe there's some sabotage things like that I would love to see take place. But as far as the design and stuff, I think it's done very well. I don't think there's wasted space. I think there just needs to be things utilized in that space. You guys got anything on the refineries?
Nope, I go there so seldom that when I go there, it's just beautiful. So I don't even get to the level of functionality because I don't do mining and refining right now. I know that's going to be the way I want to make money in 1.0. So I'm intentionally not doing it now so that I've into it head first when the game starts. So, but I love the layout. Yeah. And so I just trust people like you who do it all the time. We were like, oh, there could be more functionality here. So,
okay. FC, anything on the refineries?
Nope.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's see, what's the next one here? That's that. I'm missing one here. Was the Galleria? Yeah, why didn't the Galleria come up? Let's see, hang on a second. I know it's here. I just don't have it on the right button. All right, the Galleria. FC, where you go get your food, where you go look around for all types of stuff. Any thoughts about the Galleria?
I like that different stations have different setup, different layout, and different stores, and so there's some variety. Even though, especially in Stanton, a lot of it do look cut and paste, especially in Stanton. But I expect when you go to other systems outside of Pyro, and you know, when like for Nick example, Nick, they'll have their own look and distinctive feel. So I'm looking forward to that. But being in Stanton, it got kind of same old. But I appreciate the pattern that they display in some cases.
Okay. Let me ask you before you answer serious. One of the earlier complaints about the design language in Star Citizen from many backers was back when space stations were pretty much all looking the same, and then we got the Lagrange points, the Lagrange stations, and they all do kind of have their own distinctive exterior designs. The interiors, though, are still, you know, the same interiors. I know it's a great idea, a wonderful idea to say, boy, it would be so cool if each one of these places looked different. But that also brings about a lot of handcrafted work that has to be done by the developer. Do you think that it will be satisfying, or not? That's not the word I'm going to say, satisfying. Do you think that it is more practical and that people will be okay as long as they see that distinction, to fastcart's point, that in other words, at Pyro, the stations look different. In Stanton, they all look the same. You know, they're familiar, but they're Stanton stations. When we go to Nyx, the stations there would look different. Do you think that that would be enough to satisfy people who are looking for a different look? Because to make all these stations unique is a lot of work. Even with procedural work, I mean, there's still a lot of work that would have to be done if we made every station's interior unique.
Yeah, I'm satisfied with the different layouts. Even in Stanton, even though the design language is the same, the layouts are still different, right? So you'll jump out of you'll come up from your hangar and you're in the security area. You'll run out, and sometimes it's left, sometimes it's right, sometimes it's straight ahead.
Right.
So that is different. And I think in the run up to 1.0, I'd like to see what fastcart is talking about, where it's different system to system. And then as they get more systems in, they can have folks come back on the back end
Mm-hmm.
and give it some of that real further uniqueness and shine.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think, to get to 1.0, I think the difference per system is enough for me.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
The only other thing I'll say about the Galleria is it's another example of how I'd like to see a little bit more symbology signage.
Mm-hmm.
Stores versus food, just to be just quicker.
Yeah.
And you, Colossal, and I did a show on food and all of the nuances in food right now that are in the game.
Yeah.
I'd like the food court to drive the need for some of that in terms of a gameplay experience. So
yeah. And by the way, CIG, I got to say this: Jump Space is called Jump Ship, right? Jump Ship, Jump Space. Jump Space is serving is freaking serving pizza. Okay, get the pizza working in the freaking game. Okay, get the pizza. Pizza's been around forever. We got the noodles, we got the hot dogs, we got the burritos, but the pizza joint is still not working. Okay, come on, everybody likes pizza. Get the pizza joint going. Okay. The other thing I was going to say, Joe, seriously, is I don't know how everybody else feels about the food stuff, but when I go into these areas and I see the different vending machines and things, even if it's the Pips machines, right, or the noodles machines, I would love to see that stuff start working. I know some people don't care about it, but I would love to see that stuff start working so that I can grab stuff wherever I want to be. But that's just my little weird fluke thing that I want to say about the Galleria. What do you say, FC?
The last thing I'll try to be quick. Last thing I want to see is when they increase the player count for these servers. I wonder if it's going to be a problem with overcrowding eventually, because I mean we got to, there's a lot of space now, but if we have like 2,000 people on a server, how is that going to be for these stations? So that might be interesting.
Will there be overcrowding? You said.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good question. The question would be, why would there be 2,000 people at any one particular POI? I'm not saying no. I'm just saying
not at one place, but just on the server and how they spread out.
Well, you got to remember that the servers now are spread out. Like right now, they have it set up so that a planet is its own server. So it's not like there's one server back in the day where one server was covering Hurston, R Corp, and everything else. So one of the reasons why they're doing the dynamic thing is to be able to spool up servers when needed, when populations start to reach a certain number, right? So right now, I don't think, even if you had 2,000 people show up, I think that what they're trying to create with their dynamic server meshing is to be able to accommodate that. We don't know what that maximum amount of people would be. That's why I said, is there a reason? I'm not saying there wouldn't be. Again, maybe there's a battle, right? Something happens. It'd be very easy to scale up to having 1,000 people in a certain area, right? Yeah. Without any question about it. But I think that's one of the reasons why they're creating that's one of the reasons why they're creating the system that they're doing. And it's not even the people being there. I mean, think about all the other activity that's there, right? You've got all the assets, everything that's going on, NPCs, everything that's going on. That's one of the things that people don't think about. Exponentially, all these physicalized items that come into the game have tremendous impact on performance. What
was it that happened that they increased the server cap and people were forming lines in front of the fleet manager kiosk? Remember that?
What was the problem? What happened?
No, there weren't enough fleet manager kiosks for the amount of people that that was happening back with, like, to Serious's point, at Area 18, when I would go down to the weapon shop, we only had 2 kiosks on the wall at one point. And when a new patch would come out, there'd be a line of 7, 8, 9 people standing there waiting to get to their stuff. And what she did was they made it so that there's like 5 or 6 kiosks in there now. And that has reduced that dramatically, right? But that happens when a patch thing comes out. Everybody comes running downstairs, and particularly in the PTU. Right, when people have got to, we got to think about this too. It doesn't happen as much now because the PTU wasn't persistent. So every time you came into the PTU, you had to buy all your stuff all over again, right? Okay. So now most you have to do now is just run in and buy some ammo, right? And maybe buy some food, and that's all you got to do. But back in the day, people had to buy everything all over again, and it was kind of a pain. So
it's kind of been
I worry
minimized.
that might come back if CIG stop making us spawn in our hangars again, but spawn in the hatch. People got to stay in
Well,
line. We'll see how that works.
yeah, well, spawning in the hangars ain't all that great either, because if there's something you forgot, you got to get on a train and go all the way back to the town to go get it, and then come back to the hangar. So I think that after a certain point, giving you the flexibility to spawn it wherever you want to spawn would be the better thing to do.
Take everything off, kill yourself, show up in the hospital, and then go
Come back
downstairs and get it.
That breaks your immersion.
No,
That breaks your immersion. That breaks the immersion.
No.
That's funny. But it's true though. He's telling the truth though. That is the way to get around and do it. Okay. Let's see. We just opened up the Galleria. Why can I not find the Galleria? Where are you? Guys, give me a second here. I'm blind as a bat. Okay. Let's move on to UGFs. We have seen modifications to UGFs. In the beginning, it was just the UGF, and they all looked the same, and they all had their turrets in the same location. And then CIG did a pass, and they did some things where they started relocating turrets. Turrets now can be up in the hills or off to the side. They don't have to. You have to really kind of pay attention when you make an approach. But the exterior areas of the UGFs, there is variety. You know, the freight boxes are in different places. The turrets are in different places. The fuel tanks are in different places. But the UGF itself has pretty much remained the same. When you go downstairs, there are a couple of different configurations, maybe 3 at the most. I know there's at least 2 when you go down there. What are you guys' feelings about the UGFs? Are they worn out? Are they predictable? Are they predictable at this point? What can be done to make them better, challenging?
It's less about space here for me than it is about AI and NPCs. Right?
Okay.
There have been times NPCs are working really well,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll find them deployed all over the outside of the station area in areas that I didn't even know they functioned at. And then there are other times where they're not coming out of their spawn closet, right?
Yeah.
So when the AI and the NPCs are working well, I feel like the space almost becomes new because of the way that they use it, right?
Yeah.
And then I have to be responsive to that. And so I'm really comfortable with underground facilities right now. It's really about getting that AI and those NPCs where they need to be to utilize what we have better, right? Where in terms of cover, in terms of going outside, inside, there's a lot here to use. But if the NPCs and AI is very narrow, then it does feel more repetitive than it has to be. So.
Do you feel that the UGFs, and I'm referring to the AI side of it, do you feel that there needs to be a scaling up? In other words, if I go to a UGF, I know there's going to be 4, maybe 5 people outside. I already know. Doesn't make a difference. And then when I know I go downstairs, I might have another, I don't know, 6 to 10 total. I mean, you know, maybe I know what the total number of kills are. Do you think that there needs to be a scaling where if you're brand new, it's your first time, it's your rookie, maybe there's only 8, 9 people you got to kill. But if you're used to going in here doing these things, you got to bring the ammo. Instead of there being 5 guys outside, maybe there's 15 guys outside, right? Maybe there's 15 plus some Copian dogs outside, right? You know, how do you think that they can make these more challenging if the environment is going to remain the same? Because I don't have as much a struggle with the environment as much as the predictability of when I go to these places.
I think maybe that UGFs right now are that sort of green, yellow level. And then you have things like, what do they call them? Derelict outposts and derelict ships and derelict locations where you do get 12, 15 NPCs, and maybe those function as the yellow, orange level of these things. And then maybe there's a red level where it's at a distribution center. We're about to talk about those. Yeah. And so maybe these underground bunkers are just the green yellow level of that work. Right? And you level up to other locations versus, which they could do it either way. I feel like they could do it here as well. They could make these more. They could have red levels of underground facilities and bunkers where it was
Yeah.
30 NPCs and, really active turrets, and you've got to really think about all the ways in which you want to come into this space.
Yeah, yeah.
They
I
can do
love
that too.
I love what you just said about these bunkers and what happens if these, instead of there being 2 levels, maybe there's an elevator level that goes down one, maybe a second level, maybe there's another level that's a staircase level, right? Because now NPCs are able to go up and down stairs and ladders, right? I just want I want the spaces to feel just less predictable when we go into them. And I think that Mukul, someone said in the chat, the prisoner said they need to be more than just shooting NPCs too, right? Maybe there's a thing of just bringing a UGF back online, right? And you've just got to be able to just go do that, right? Something, or welding, repair work, a lot of other things. We, at one point, they did have these different missions. Remember the missions with that gang that you had to go in and shut down the systems and do stuff like that? And don't get me wrong, guys, we know stuff comes and goes. It's all about testing. It doesn't mean it's not coming back. We're just saying we know that they have been trying to come up with other things. There's the computer area where maybe you've got to go in and hack something. I think that those are the things that we're looking to see, that these facilities, just like I said, it's just something different that you go there. I don't mind the layout per se. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see some more variety in layout. But I think it's that when I go to one, what is it I have to do? And so that I don't know exactly what I'm going to encounter when I go there. I know it is something I have to do, but I don't want the predictability of going in. And and it's kind of like, okay, I'm just going to do this. And, that's my personal thing about it. FC, did I talk to you about UGFs at all? Did you already answer? I can't even remember.
When I'm doing this stuff for soul stations, I'm just following people, just trying to keep my head down and I get shot and get at least one kill.
Okay. Well, here's something I will say. In the patch notes, CIG talked about that they're getting ready to put in anti-personnel weapons now, which is going to change the dynamic. We've been so used to being able to destroy turrets and come in and land, or park a vehicle and come in. But now there are, in fact, the sneak peek even shows one this week. Now there are going to be turrets there that if you try to walk in, you're going to have some problems. And so I appreciate them stepping that game up. I know when we saw, serious was it when we saw the landing on Pyro 3 when the Origin 400i was coming in, and remember they had the missile launchers on the ground. I know we've got those in the game, so I would love to see more air to ground attacks that take place from missiles. I would love to see these things being well protected. And if you want to go inside, maybe this is going to be the thing that makes us bring in armored vehicles now to be able to come in. And now you can't fly in without getting jacked up, or you can't run in without getting jacked up. You've got to jump into that. What's that called? The APC, right? The anvil thing, right? Or maybe something like that. Or maybe it's the tumbril Jeeps with the AA gun on it, or the machine gun that you can take out the turrets. But that's the type of stuff we want to see happen at these UGFs. I like UGFs. I just want to see more.
I still say, I just put the link for the sneak peek in chat. I still say a sniper rifle should be able to take one of those out.
No way. No way. Sniper rifle? No way. No way. Yes, the MTC. Yes, the prisoner. And people have been using the MTC amazingly at Hathor. It's been like really cool. If you go in with just you and another person, the MTC is a very quick view. All right, we've got to speed this up because we are running super behind. We're actually only got 4 minutes left. I don't know that we're going to get to ships this week. So maybe we're just going to kind of cap it off with this last one. Yeah. And that's distribution centers. We'll cover ships on another show. Let's talk about the distribution centers. FC, have you visited? I have to ask FC this, y'all, because there's certain parts of the game I know FC has stayed away from, and certain things that I know he has delved into. So I'm going to start with him first. Have you gone to distribution centers? And if not, I know you've seen the presentations about them and what they're supposed to be. What are your thoughts about distribution centers?
I probably have with Soul Station. I don't have much to say about it because I'm still trying to keep my head down and keep running around and keep stay alive and keep my one kill in.
Okay. Well, let me say this about this, and seriously, you can jump in, then I'll give my comment. The distribution center is the one thing that they built where they did implement the multiple levels with different designs. So there's like a corporate office level, there's like a general entrance level, and then there's the industrial level downstairs, and there's a storage area. And then there's another area that we don't even see that's even more subterranean. The distribution centers that we have right now in the game are what CIG says are the medium-sized ones. These are not the largest, and evidently there are smaller versions. There's 3 versions, small, a medium, and a large. And the ones we have now are mediums. They are also surrounded by other facilities. And I will say that I've had some challenging events at these facilities in the past, not recently, but there was a period of time when I was getting those side missions, you know, serious, where I'm talking about those ones that are out of those outer areas. And I would come in there at nighttime, and it was night with fog, and we were getting lit up. The AI was wearing us out. They were up on the freaking catwalks. It was really, really tough. Haven't had those in a long time. I missed those because those were very challenging. But again, I think that I'm going to go back to something the prisoner said earlier, which is, what do we do with these facilities that goes beyond just shoot 'em up? Just beyond FPS, what do you see, Serious, that these facilities can start doing for us?
Well, yeah, I mean if you remember how they rolled these out, the connotation at the time was that you might have a variety of players and player groups at one distribution station doing different missions, right? They could interact with each other or not, but they didn't have to. They were on different parts of the distribution center doing different things for different purposes, right? And so, the way that you can extend that is, if I'm over, maybe I have to bring a data disk to the administrative level, or maybe I remember the one of the administration missions was a search mission. Where you had to go into the grates on the administration level and find somebody down in the grates on the administration level. And some of these outer areas very much can be about cargo. Can be very much about data, about servers. We have some of this functionality in the game. It's just that it's not quite integrated into everything that's happening at these locations. But you can feel, you raised it earlier, you can feel CIG's plan for this, because whether it's the bunkers, the UGFs, or the distribution centers, there are levels that we don't see. Sometimes you glitch into these levels and you realize they've built down further than we can go, right? So they do have something in mind for the ongoing access. And the last thing I'll say is, we have seen in some of the most recent Onyx facility stuff, we have seen now the realization of some of the stuff that we saw when they first rolled out the distribution centers. If you remember, they first showed us this sort of angled elevator that went down into the distribution center. And we never really saw that in the distribution center, but we do see that in the Onyx Center. Right. So maybe the Onyx Center is evocative of, or representative of, that large distribution center idea that you talked about. So, this is one of those ones where the ambition is very high from CIG. The execution is probably in the middle. But the Onyx facility, I think, is an additional expression of what they learned here. And it'll be interesting to see then now the next iteration of these when they come back to them and what they're going to be able to do. To
the prisoner's point, I would love to see a mission based on what we've seen happen at the ASD and Onyx. I would love to have seen a mission. He says smuggling cargo. I would have loved to have seen a situation where you have to go in and you have to do it and not kill anybody, which would be really interesting. I would love to see the fact that you go in, you do a takedown on somebody, put on their uniform, walk through the facility, shut down something, right? Or whatever. And then you bring your crew in and you have to, how you get that one big room where all the cargo boxes are, where you could just, maybe there's a gold delivery that came in, right? Some delivery of something. You got to get 4 or 5 of those boxes out of there, get them out and get out without bumping anybody off, right? Or, maybe you stun people, whatever the case may be. But my point is, I would love to see that facility starting to be utilized more, right? Why isn't there anybody from the Hurston Company working up in the offices, right? All you've got is security people walking around. I would love to see them breathe life into this. And to your point, this is a huge facility. It's not just that main building, but there's stuff going on all around there. So it would be great to, at one point it was pretty active, right? There was a lot of different things. You might even have encounters with other people when you were there, but these have become a ghost town to a certain degree. And mind you, that happens in the game, y'all. Things get put in to get tested. Once they've tested it, they take it out, or they go back and say, hey, let's go work on it and do some more stuff. And the life will come back. But again, we just kind of want to remind ourselves that just because they're ghost towns now, they're not going to be ghost towns later. We do want to see CIG come up with some really cool things for people who maybe don't want to be shooting people all the time, but they want to do a delivery, or they want to be able to smuggle, or they want to be able to hack. There's a lot of things that people can do in the game with this stuff.
Or these things have a day-to-day life.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to bring them a package.
Yeah.
I just want to be involved in the day-to-day life.
Or maybe there's information in one of those offices that leads you someplace else, right? You've got to go here, hack in, get the information, and then from here you leave and you go do something else someplace else, right? You know, there's so much stuff that they could do with these locations, you know, which I think is pretty exciting. So, okay. All righty then. Well, we have hit our mark for today. We were going to do some ships with you guys, but we're going to save the ships for another day because that's going to be a whole nother conversation about ship design and everything else. FC?
Game Space 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Okay. No, did you look in Discord? Because I don't know if you want to do that now or...
Yeah. Well, no. It's with the Q&A. It's now. It's now. I haven't forgotten.
Q&A, but you mentioned giveaway.
I know. I said I haven't forgotten yet. I was just closing out the show part. I was just closing out the show part. Yeah.
All right.
I was just saying that there was more that we wanted to do, but we're going to save that for another day. So I was going to say, do we have any Q&A? And if we do,
no,
let's. We don't. Oh, we don't? Really? Oh,
no,
wow. No. Nobody's got any questions today. Okay. All right. Well, listen, we are going to do a couple of giveaways. Since we are in our time of the day of the Vara, let's do our very first one, which is going to be for the Day of the Vara Parasite Pack. Ooh, no, don't do that. Okay. You all forgive me there. My pad fell down on my keyboard and hit the number 3. And a 2-1, all the other stuff up there. It's up there. So, yeah, so typed in some extra stuff. All right, this is for 1, not 3. A Day of Avara Parasite Pack. Forget the 3 and the 2 and the 1. That's because my mouse thing fell down. If you guys want to be in the raffle for that, type in ! Ticket. Or ticket ! Which one is it? ! Ticket. Ticket. That will get you in for the Day of the Vara Parasite Pack. And
Colossal. No Colossal. No.
You all go ahead and chime in for that. Not Colossal. You guys, if you're part of the Soul team, you guys can go ahead and chime in for it. Feel free to chime in for it. We haven't done anything with the Soul team in a little while, so they're eligible for this one.
Unbelievable.
We'll make them eligible. They are eligible for this one.
Come on in, Colossal. It's all right.
All right.
I know we hurt your ears talking about Hurston, so.
Yeah, exactly. FC, do me a favor. Start looking up who we're going to have for our raid. Oh, you did? Okay.
Put it in there.
Okay. Is there somebody else? I want to get somebody different that we haven't done before. Okay. Someone that we haven't done. Take your time. Yeah, just take your time. Just somebody that's new that we haven't done before. So we can throw some love to some new folks. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, we are getting ready to close this one out. Once again, ! Ticket. We've got plenty of entrants in here. We're going to give it about another 10 seconds. And then we're going to draw for those of you who are interested in the Day of the Vara Parasite Pack. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, time is up. Serious, give me a countdown, and we're going to hit it.
3, 2, 1, bam.
Oh, wow, that was fast. Did a name come up?
Striker 199.
Okay.
Yep, Striker 199.
Striker, are you here? Striker. Oh, there he is. All right, Striker. Congratulations.
Did you fix this so YouTube can enter too?
No, it is not. I'm sorry I didn't announce that. I've been trying. I have been trying. Yeah, YouTube, please forgive us. We've been trying to find the right software to do this, and they want to charge us ridiculous amounts of money. But we're trying to figure out a way to get so that YouTube folks can also be in on it. So please forgive us for that. We're sorry. Yeah, I know, Citizen Job. I'm sorry. So once again, oh my goodness, we're getting a raid.
We just got a raid.
Oh my God. Maiden Ariana. Maiden Ariana.
Like 1 minute away from raiding someone else.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maiden. We're actually getting ready to close out. This is the top of the hour for us, but we're doing giveaways. So for your folks who are here, We are doing giveaways. Hope you had a great stream, Ariana. Hope all is well with you, and thank you for sending your loved ones over to us. Once again, welcome everybody to Soul Citizens. We're actually tapping down to the end of our show. Our show was about game space today, but we are just wrapping up the show. So
Griff, what does Striker and 199 need to do?
Striker, you need to send us an email with your RSI email account, the one you want us to send your prize to. You can send that to soulcitizens@gmail.com, or you can DM us in the in the Twitch thingy. But yeah, otherwise send us an email and we'll make sure that we get that prize out to you ASAP. So once again, congratulations on that. Let's get ready to do another. Let's do another one.
Raiders, you rated just on time. You about to get in the giveaways.
Either that or y'all gonna make somebody mad because y'all won. It's gonna be one of the two. So let's see which one it's gonna be. Let's see which one it's gonna be. Let's see. This one is going to be for. Ooh, why is that? Did I spell that wrong? I did. Jeez. All right, this one is going to be for. Can't believe these typos. God, I just do too much too quickly. This next giveaway. By the way, if you're a subscriber, you get twice the chance to win. Just so you'll know. This is going to be for the Black Magic 3 paint pack. This is the new paint pack that came out for the Day of the Vara. And once again, exclamation point ticket. If you are interested in those 3 new paints, I think it's for the Polaris, the Saber, and the Guardian. I know many of you all have those ships. Hit that exclamation point ticket, and that will get you in for this particular drawing. We'll give you guys about another minute or so to chime in on that one. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, next Saturday, just to remind everybody, next Saturday, we are going to be having our own little watch party with the Soul Citizens. We are going to do it on Google Chat, so we will be like on screen. So if you guys want to sit in with us and enjoy watching the SitCon Direct next week, that's going to be taking place, you will be able to get the code to get in for that on either our social media. I'll have it up tomorrow. Or you can come to our Discord. If you're already on our Discord, there'll be a code there for you guys to be able to get in and join us for that conversation. Of course, we'll probably hang around a little bit after the program next week and talk about what we saw, give any thoughts, hear what you guys have to think about it. So that'll be next Saturday. What time did we say it was, Fast Card? Is it at 3? 3 o'clock? It's under the events channel, if you want to look under there and see. But not under the events channel. It's under the CitizenCon channel. And you can tell everybody what the time is on it. Yep. All right, we're going to get 5 more seconds. 5 more seconds on the paint pack. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, time is up on that one. And Sirius, could you give us the countdown one more time, please?
3, 2, 1.
A boom. Death Star Tuna. What a name. Death Star Tuna or Luna. I'm sorry. I'm seeing T. I got bad eyes. Death Star Luna. Thank you. Death Star Luna. Are you here? Are you here? Are you here? Death Star Luna. I know. I saw. Hang on, Fast Card. I hear you. Death Star Luna. All right. Death Star Luna. Thank you for being here. Raider from Maiden Ariana. Look at that. Woohoo. You get the Black Magic 3 paint pack. We truly appreciate you being here. Once again, reach out to us at soulcitizens@gmail.com with the RSI account email, or you can DM us in our Twitch channel, and we will make sure that we get that out to you ASAP. Okay. So, FC, what time is it supposed to be on Saturday?
3:30.
3:30 what? Eastern? Okay, 3:30 Eastern time. Okay, so 3:30 Eastern time next week, we will be doing our thing. Like a lot of folks, we know a lot of you all are with your orgs and everything. We get that, no worries. But if you don't have an org, if you just want to hang out with us, you'll be more than welcome to join us as we watch SitCon Direct on next week. So that's the name of that tune. Let me go back to this. Make sure I have the right thing here. Alrighty. Ice Gremlin, by the way, sorry, we saw you pop in there. Thank you so much also for that follow. Appreciate you being here. Anali Sinka, thank you also for the follow. Appreciate you being here. Death Star Luna, also thank you for that follow as well. Appreciate you all being here with us because it's nice to have you guys drop in. Thank you for that. Next week, after CitCon Direct, as you guys know, after CitizenCon, we always have our own review. And so that will be our show on next Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, or 7 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm sorry. We will be having our own review and talking about what we saw, what we liked, what we didn't like, our hopes, our dreams, our tears and fears, whatever the case may be. That's going to be next Sunday evening, and hopefully you all will be able to join us for that. And of course, we'd love to hear what you all have to say and what you think about CitCon Direct next year and the direction that CIG is going for 2026. I think other than that, did we cover everything serious, Fast Cart? And were we missing anything? Did we get everything that we're supposed to be doing for this week?
Got everything. That's it.
There's no way to cover everything, Griff. It's impossible.
Yeah, right.
Covered enough.
We covered enough.
I think we've covered enough. Okay. All right. Well, we're getting ready to send you all over to Jay Hilletus. Jay Hilletus, is that how you pronounce it, FC? Is that how that would be pronounced?
It's like Annihilus, but it's like
Annihilus. Yeah, it might be Annihilus. I don't know, but he'll have to tell you what his name is when you guys get over there.
Death Star Tuna better than everything.
Death Star Tuna. Okay. All right. Well, listen, we're going to send you over to Jay. How you say it, Fast Cart?
Hilletus, but or Annihilus. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. Yeah, Jay. Yeah, we're sending over to JH. We're sending you over to JH. All right. When you guys get over there, this is a new person that we've never rated before, so we just want to spread the love to some new folks. Just to let you know that when you get over there, send some love. If you like what you see, of course, follow. And again, thank you guys for being here with us this Sunday. We really appreciate you as always. Please take care of yourselves. Stay safe. And as always, we tell you guys, peace, love, and soul. Take care of yourselves. Ciao.